Hey everybody, Devin Knotts here at Footballguys, and today we're going to start a several-part series breaking down both sides of the game for the Super Bowl that is coming up here in about 10 days. So, the biggest question I think on most people's mind is, can the 49ers stop the Chiefs' passing offense? And that in and of itself is a loaded question. I think that a lot of people are going to look at Richard Sherman, they're going to look at the pass rush and say, yeah, they can do enough to slow them down. There's a couple of problems with that. So Richard Sherman, if you haven't heard, I think by game time, every one of us will have heard, he stays on one side of the field. And that's one side of the field is occupied by Demarcus Robinson. So in reality, Richard Sherman's not going to play much of a role in this game at all because Demarcus Robinson plays a very minimal part of the Chiefs' offense. So unless Sherman does change sides, which I would not expect him to because he only did that for the first two snaps of the Green Bay game, I have a hard time seeing him break tendency, considering 98 to 99% of his snaps were on the one side of the field. So that gets into Sammy Watkins and Tyreek Hill. And both players are incredibly quick. They kind of rotate positions, so they both spend about 40 to 50% of the time in the slot, and then about 30% of the time on the outside. And Hill has a significant speed advantage over Kwan Williams out of the slot. So Kwan Williams in coming out of college ran a 4.6 40. Tyreek Hill, I think we all know, is about a 4.3 40. And Kwan Williams is kind of a physical slot player. Meanwhile, on the outside, they have Emmanuel Moseley, who they've kind of had a bit of an issue on the outside. They had Akella Witherspoon, who played a lot earlier in the year, but he was replaced by Moseley. And Moseley is a faster corner, so I expect him to play a lot this week. And if the Chiefs are trying to take advantage, Watkins is fast in his own right, but he doesn't have the speed that Hill does. So I expect Watkins to be on the outside more in this game, and Hill down in the slot trying to take advantage of Moseley. Moseley has struggled with bigger receivers. We saw Julio Jones have a monster game, and Watkins isn't that size, but he's 6'1", 205 compared to Tyreek Hill, who is a much smaller receiver at 5'10", 185. So I anticipate that on the outside, it will be a lot of Watkins. In the slot, it'll be Hill. And then the other side of the ball really doesn't matter. So that gets us to the tight end position. And the question there is, okay, we look at the overall stats, and the 49ers are the fifth best team against the tight end this year. However, if you look at that a little bit closer, here are the tight ends that they've faced: O.J. Howard, Tyler Eifert, Vance McDonald, Demetrius Harris, Tyler Higbee, Greg Olsen, Max Williams, Jacob Hollister, Darrell Daniels, Jimmy Graham again, Mark Andrews, Jared Cook, Austin Hooper, Jacob Hollister again, Irv Smith, and Jimmy Graham. So essentially, they haven't faced a tight end that is even close to the caliber of player that Travis Kelce is. And it's a bit of an issue. So over the last, 5 weeks, they've allowed four tight ends to go for 50 yards or more. That included Mark Andrews with 50 yards, Jared Cook with 64 yards and 2 touchdowns before getting hurt. Tyler Higbee had 9 for 104. And then we saw last week where Jimmy Graham had 59 yards. So on the back end, you're going to see a lot of Jaquiski Tart and Quan Alexander against Kelce, and it's a matchup that I think a lot of people are underlooking. I anticipate that Kelce plays a big role in this game. We sort of saw him shut down last week against the Titans as the Titans' corners struggled, but with the pass rush of the 49ers, the Chiefs are going to expect to get the ball out quickly, take advantage of what could be a perceived matchup advantage against a tight end that hasn't, or a team that has not faced a tight end of Kelsey's caliber. So, lastly, I think when we're breaking down the passing offense, we have to talk about the pass rush. And it's a good one. I mean, there's no hiding it. Nick Bosa, DeForest Buckner, Eric Armstead, and Dee Ford make up what really could be considered the best defensive line in football. But they're facing the best pass defense or pass blocking unit in football. So Patrick Mahomes was sacked 17 times this year on 498 pass attempts, which was the best in football at 3.5%. So it begs the question as far as you have the best defensive line. The 49ers had the 5th most sacks, but in reality, it's kind of skewed because they didn't blitz that often. So they don't blitz nearly as much as other teams. When they're in cover one, which is a bringing an extra man essentially, they had a sack 14% of the time, which was the highest in football. So I anticipate trying to get pressure. I wouldn't be surprised if they brought some slot corners. Kwan Williams is a very good blitzing corner. It'll be interesting. You have the best against the best, and if that pass rush does not get home and put pressure on Mahomes, it's going to be a long day. This secondary is not going to be able to keep up against Kansas City. I don't know if there is a secondary that can. To be honest, I think we could see a big day for Hill. We could see a big day for Kelsey. And I think that Sammy Watkins is in a spot where he could have a long catch as well. So we'll know very early. I think that we will know very early in this game as far as can Bosa and Armstead and Ford get past Mitchell Schwartz and Eric Fisher. And if they can't, expect the Chiefs to have their day. And I think that Vegas is kind of anticipating that with the over-under as high as it is. So I think that they think that both offenses should have success, and we'll get into the 49ers advantages later in the week. But expect Mahomes and company to have another big week this week, or big week in 2 weeks. So if you like the video, please subscribe. Please give this a thumbs up. Please leave a comment. Do you disagree with me? Let's talk it through.